Okay, all right, guys, I'm just going to try one time. We have like really bad internet like tonight, so it is getting so late. I'm just going to try, this one time. If you guys are able to see this, then I would appreciate if you would tell me. If not, we're going to have to reschedule this next week. This starting week. Good. Seems like it is working. All right. For our topic today, I got a bit, off today. The topic is supposed to be, on the major causes of depression, anxiety, and unhappiness. But I decided to talk first about the, Korean actress. There's one Korean actress. She's a big actress. She's called Sully. Sully killed herself this week. And it was because of cyberbullying, and God knows how long it has happened and how much she must have been feeling to reach the extent of taking her own life. But the point is that reminded me so much, like how people always remind you the things you have in life whenever you have problems. Like it is like they actually undermine the problems with the things you have in your life. Like I know this might sound a little like out of line for some people, but I'll still talk about it. Just because a person has money or a person is well off does not mean that their problems are less important. Just because a person is rich does not mean that their problems don't matter as the problems of a person who is poor. Like the reason why I'm talking about this is because the girl killed herself. She was very rich. She had everything. Okay, she was a star. And like in our society, we have this like really huge belief that, when a person is rich, they're not supposed to complain. They're not supposed to have problems. Actually, we forget one thing, that the more money a person gets in life, it comes with the duties. It comes with the responsibilities. So with that comes the problems as well. So always shutting people up just because they have money, and always reminding them how, they have this, how they have that, whenever they try to talk about, things they go through, like is really, really uncalled for. And it is not good. And I really wish that, we should be more considerate. Just the way we, try to understand problems of people who are unfortunate, like everywhere in the world or in our lives, is the same way we should understand, problems of every person. Like no one has a right to tell people how they should feel or what should hurt them just because of, their financial status. Actually, no one has a right to start with. But, let's just talk about it on a society basis. So for all the people who, are going through a lot of things, and you're always reminded of, how you have this, so you shouldn't feel like this, how you have this, so you shouldn't feel like this. Like, I'm really sorry that you have to go through that. And I would advise you to really, seek help, talk to a person. There's spiritual people, there, doctors. There's like everything. You can even just talk to a friend you trust. Just, figure out a way to deal with that. Because those things are combined, are things that led to the death of that girl. Yes, she had the money. Yes, she had the fame. She had everything. But she took her life because she was hurt. She got depressed. She got, she was really, really going through a lot of things. So for all the guys who are like on tonight, I hope like I've been able to, shed a bit of light on that one. Like no one has any right to make you, feel like your problems are not big enough. Like problems are problems. Whether for less fortunate person or for which type of person, they're all problems, and they're equally important, because those problems determines the psychological well-being of that person, which is the health of that person, whether they're rich or poor. If we should always remember, put that in mind. Anyway, that was just part of tonight. We got delayed with the internet and stuff, so I'm sorry again for the people that had to go to sleep before I came to talk about this. So that I hope that that's done. The topic for this week, again, I'm really excited to be back, and for our topic this week, I've combined like several questions into like I'm going to go with one topic today. Like I chose major cause of depression, unhappiness, and anxiety. I chose this topic to cover up most of the questions that I got this, like big holiday and like weeks back. Oh, sorry. Like this whole time I've not been able to come live and answer the questions. I know it is very late, so I'll try to be like really fast so that you guys don't have to take a lot of time, because it's a Monday tomorrow, so a lot of people have to go to work tomorrow anyway, heading to the topic, like I chose one answer as the major cause of depression, unhappiness, and anxiety in people's life, which is called our measuring scale in life. Now, I will give you guys several examples so that you can get this. Measuring scale is actually a standard you use to measure things in your life. Now, this is how it works. I'll give you guys, for example, success. A person will be like, okay, for me to really feel successful, I will need to have, I don't know, cars so much, so I can't tell you guys the latest car, or let's say a mansion, okay? I'll, need a mansion, I'll need this, I'll need, private jet. There's so many things that people, use as their, success, destination. Like we have this belief that somehow we're going to become, so satisfied when we reach that level that we will actually reach the destination of happiness. It is like, there's this, destination where we reach and we will be happy forever. But the truth is, it won't happen. Because in life, like I will give you guys like something straight we can start with. From the solutions you have right now is where the new problems in your life are going to start from. Just think about it. From the solutions you had years back is where your problems started from. All the problems you have right now are from the solutions you had days back or months back or years back. That is life. We actually don't have much control over, so many things that happen in our lives. Those are things that are controlled by God. So, like understanding that first, will help us to choose a type of, measurement in our life that does not affect our health. Because if your measurement in life is going to be, let's, having a mansion, and you work so hard all the years of your life, struggling, usually there's a target. Like you set a target that, at this year, or this, like I'm going to have this, I'm going to have that. And when you don't have it, now that is where the actually dilemma starts, because you will either have to really sit down and be like, yes, this was my target, but I achieved this and this and this and this and this, and be like, okay, I'm very grateful to God for this. Or you're going to get so stressed, you're going to get so annoyed, you're going to feel so disappointed, you're going to feel worthless or not worth enough just because you didn't achieve that, or you're not on the level that the person you compare yourself to is on. Like, I don't know if I've been, able to give you guys to give you guys the point of, our measuring scale in life. Let me turn it off a little bit to relationships or marriage. Like, if society has, let's say, this standard, expectation of marriage that, it should be candles, roses, and I don't know, candles and roses. I don't know if that's what it is. And God forbid you go through some challenges in your marriage, which is actually every marriage. If you're using the other standard that every marriage has to be, roses and candles, chances are high you're going to feel that something is lacking in your life. You're going to feel that you're lacking. You're going to feel abnormal because you don't fit a particular measuring scale that you chose to, measure your life with. Like, I'll use another example of education. Let's say this week I got so many kids who got, who had planned to, pass CSS exams and then, go for either a job or something like that. It's some type of a system that I have not, read about so much. But all those kids were really, really hard that, they feel like failures because they have not been able to achieve, the results they wanted. And I was really, really, taken back on the point of measurement. You see, all these kids are measuring their success in education, on the scale of passing CSS exams. That failure to achieve that has made them so broken that they feel their life is worthless. Now, you see, the problem here is not failing to pass the CSS exams. The problem here is the measuring scale that they're using to actually measure this failure in their life. Because, a lot of times we all fail. Businesses fail, art fails. A lot of things, there's always challenge. You can call them challenges. Failing one thing does not mean that you fail another. But being stuck on defining your life as a failure simply because something didn't turn out the way you want, just one, item or element in your life, is actually unfair. And for a lot of people, that is the major cause of, that stress and frustration that you actually experience every day, in your life. And if that frustration keeps going on like that, chances are high you're going to develop several disorders, psychological disorders. There's paranoia. Because the more frustration you keep, piling up, the more fears that you keep building. I didn't pass this, I'm not good enough. I didn't achieve this, I'm not good enough. I'm not successful enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not handsome enough. The more you keep reminding yourself those kind of things, you're developing those, fears. And fears are the reason why people get anxiety. Because anxiety is a type of discomfort or fear or breakdown that we get whenever we face situations that we're uncomfortable with, unfamiliar with, or just something we dislike. So I hope you guys, you've got the point. Measuring scale in your life is something that is important. I love comparisons. Comparisons are good for development. They're good for, they're good for a lot of things. But they should not be determinant of, whether you're happy or not, or the value of your life entirely. Because the moment you use that scale, the moment you use that measuring scale in your life, you're really going to end up, living unhealthy life for a really long time. Because only God knows when we're going to achieve what. We do our best, yes, every day. We give in the best we can, but the rest lies on God. So, just going out of the way to, choose a particular measurement is one of the reasons. There are so many reasons why people are unhappy in their life, or why people get depressed. I liked a person didn't like me. So, these are kind of things that we go through in our daily life. I didn't get a job that I wanted. I didn't get, there are so many things. But the point is, which measuring scale are you using in your life? Is it really helping you grow, or it is breaking you down? Is it helping you progress, or it is crippling you down? Because honestly, a scale which has to push you into fears is a type of scale that is crippling you. It is not making you success. If not having a mansion as like a determinant for your success makes you have sleepless nights and feel like you're not good enough in a group of your friends, then that is crippling you. That is not like a motivation to achieve something. That's just, breaking factor. Like, I will go to another thing of definition. Like, how do we define ourselves naturally? Now, this is something that a lot of people don't agree with, but still I will tell you guys because, it is almost in the same as scaling, one is self. Now, definition. Like, I'm sure a lot of you guys have met so many people in your lives that, you introduce yourself, or they introduce themselves and be like, I'm Dr. So-and-so, Professor so-and-so, or I'm this and that, or, I have a PhD in this, I have a bachelor's in this, I have master's in this, I have you've been through that and you've experienced and, seen people who define themselves with, such type of things. Now, it's beautiful, it's amazing, getting those things. It's a lot of hard work, so it is something that should be respected. But every time you use those things to, define yourself, you're actually putting yourself up for failure. Because the moment you don't live as per standards of, let's say, a PhD holder, which is supposed to be successful, leader or successful CEO or successful professor or successful something, you're really going to hit the bottom. So defining ourselves with normal things is actually something that can, create a lot of gap for us to grow and help us in, living this normal, healthy, successful life. Because whenever you define yourself with something that is normal, it reduces pressure on you to look like something you're not. I tell this especially a lot to women, especially those who have children, or those married women, or there's so many, or those who do several jobs. Like, I always tell them, for normal things, just identify yourself with, I'm a mother. As a mother, every day you have an activity that you do right. It will be maybe feeding someone or feeding your baby, or it will be, taking care of the family, or, things like I'm a wife. Because every day you build that up. Every day you achieve something in that line. So that is not something that is going to really, really, break you down. So for definitions, always look for things that will not give you, anxiety to look different. Always choose to define with things that you comfortable with. I hope I've covered that as well. Then I will talk about let me see, and another example on actually the scale we use for measurement in our life. This was a quick story that I will tell you guys. There's these two guys that both were in particular bands and got kicked out. So one of the guys got kicked out of the band, and he was really annoyed, and he kept thinking to himself that I will never be happy in life, or I will only be happy in life if I sell more albums and become more rich than the old band that kicked me out. So all his life he lived under that revenge. It is good, it motivated him to do better, but he was never happy in his life because he didn't sell the same amount of albums like the old band that he was with that kicked him out. And even in his old age, He was asked if he was happy, and he was still on the same thing that I will never be happy. No matter how much amount of money he made, he was never happy, and he died an unhappy person, because that is the measuring scale that he chose for his life. He got a lot of things in his life, but they never meant anything, simply because he chose and got stuck on unhealthy or unfair measuring scale for his life. And another guy that I wanted to tell you guys was also kicked off the band, and like those are like 80s band. Like he was kicked off because he was actually like the face of the band. He was very nice looking, and he was like really outstanding. So the rest of the group were like, no, we need fame, we need balance, so they got him off. And at first he was hurt. He started drinking a lot and partying, and really went crazy. And he kept on for some time until he met this woman, and he fell in love, got married, and had kids. And he started just spending his life with his family, and playing on the band and making tours. Like he still was succeeding. And when he was asked what is he most proud of in his life, he said, this is the happiest I can ever be in my life. This is all that I ever want to be, having this beautiful family and having these beautiful kids, and being able to have all this flexibility in my work, and spending time raising these guys and growing up with these guys. Now I want you guys to look at this, look at these two stories. I actually read them in the book, one of the really, really amazing books. These stories are totally the same, but these two people use different measuring scale that made their life turn out different. So for all of you guys who questioning why you always feel anxious or depressed or feel bad, look at the things that you use to define failures and achievements in your life. That is the starting point. And if there are things that are out of your control, then you know the answer, or you know what to do. Otherwise, thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you all. I have to go now. It is very late. I wish you guys a good night. We'll add on that next week.